Welcome to Earth 2 Comic Cast, where superheroes exist and comic book talk is the norm. It's your boy Mo Crosby. It's 2018. This is the first episode of This Week in Comics for the year. So sit back, relax, and as always, it's our very first This Week in Comics in 2018, and I have a very, very special surprise for you, like a New Year's present for you guys. So I'm gonna let the person, the man, the myth, the legend introduce himself to you right now. Go ahead, sir. Introduce yourself to Earth 2. They should know you already, but go ahead, man. Let's do it.
That's a hell of an intro. Whatever. Yeah, if you guys can't tell, it's me. It's VitoD.
Hey. VitoD's back to do this episode with us, and hopefully back to do more episodes with us in This Week in Comics. Usually I would have Ziggy with me to do this, but Ziggy isn't feeling too well today, so get well soon, Ziggy.
Feel better.
Yeah, get well soon. So we haven't done one. We were supposed to do one last week, but we didn't do it, so this is going to be like a very full episode. We have a lot of comics to talk about. So I don't know where I'm going to start, but I will let Vito start this one off for us because, it's been a minute and Vito needs to talk on the show right now. So go ahead, Vito. Start this one off.
Alright, so did you want to do only this year? Because technically 3 weeks ago was when we were talking about was pretty much 3 weeks ago was last year, right?
Really? Yeah. Okay. You know what? You're right.
That leaves Doomsday Clock out the picture because that came out in the last week of December.
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
Let's do an honorable mentions for maybe a couple books from last year we could talk about, because there's no way we're gonna do this without talking about Doomsday Clock. So
yeah,
let's do an honorable mentions. If you want to kick it off, go ahead and kick it off.
I'll just do one for DC. We'll do one for DC and one for
Marvel.
One for Marvel then.
All right, bet.
Let's start off with the conclusion of Spidermen II.
Oh, okay. Well, you take that one off.
Did you read that one?
You know I'm not reading Spider-Man. I don't know why you try to put me on the spot.
All right. So a couple
ahead.
years ago, your boy Brian Michael Bendis, right? He came up with a story where pretty much Peter Parker and Miles Morales meet up for the first time. Hello, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm sorry.
I thought I went out.
Oh,
But
so Peter Parker and Miles Morales have met.
Yeah, so like in the story, it's like, in the Ultimate Universe, Peter Parker dies and then Miles Morales takes the mantle or whatever. So in this one, I don't know if it's the regular universe, but just a regular Peter Parker meets up with Miles Morales. He accidentally goes into Miles Morales' dimension, and as he's trying to figure out what's going on, it's good because the first one, Peter Parker actually gets to say goodbye to Aunt May and Gwen Stacy properly because they still exist in Miles Morales' universe.
Oh, true. That's awesome. Yeah.
Now it had a little emotional moment because since Peter Parker died, they didn't get to say bye either. So there was like this one moment in the comic where like they're all hugging and they're like, "Oh, I know you're not the real one, but this has helped me get closure and everything," right?
Right.
So it was a good comic, right? And then it ends with Peter Parker looking to see who Miles Morales on his Earth is.
Oh, so he goes back to his Earth to find Miles Morales.
Yeah, well, I mean, he goes back home pretty much, right? But out of curiosity, he tries to find out who this Miles Morales is, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was like what 3-4 years or whatever had passed, and then now they finally do Spider-Men II. Which is the sequel to it.
Okay.
Right. So this is more like a Elseworld story. It's not like
So
in
this doesn't fall
continuity
in.
or
Oh,
whatever.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, but in this one, Miles Morales goes through into Peter's world, and you know, he he tries to find out because he hears Taskmaster talk to somebody, and then Taskmaster says, "Yeah, I'm here just waiting for Miles Morales."
Hmm.
So Miles Morales takes it as, "Holy shit! How does he know that name?" And it turns out that there is someone in the universe in Peter Parker's universe
Right.
as to who he is. I mean, there is someone by that name, and they're trying to figure out who that is.
Oh my
Apparently, it's
God.
one of Kingpin's best friends.
Who? Peter Parker or Miles?
Uh, no, the other Miles Morales.
So Miles Morales on should we say our universe versus his so Miles on the in the alternate universe where Peter's dead is good Miles, but Miles in the universe where Peter is
Or,
alive
yeah,
is Kingpin's friend.
he's Kingpin's best friend, and
Oh,
he's
I gotta read
actually
this.
it's 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 surprisingly good.
Oh, I gotta read this.
So, and actually, I like it helps you. I sympathize
Peter?
with Kingpin on this one because no, with Kingpin,
Oh, okay.
like you just see his friendship with Miles and how he would pretty much do anything for Miles because of what Miles did for him. You're just
Hmm.
like, holy shit! I would love to have a friend like like Kingpin, like Wilson Fisk.
Wow, that's amazing. I wonder what he did for him. Well, don't spoil it because I'm gonna go read
Yeah,
it.
no,
But yeah, that's awesome
yeah,
though.
it's short. I mean, each series, like Spider-Man and then Spider-Man 2, they're
Hmm.
both 5 issues long.
Okay, so
So
that's only. I mean,
it's a
I
quick
could get
read.
through it. I could get through it.
Yeah.
So are we
So,
recommending that for our readers? Are we saying, hey, if you haven't read it, go pick it up?
I mean, if you're not deep into Spider-Man, I know Spider-Man has like a whole, but Spider-Man's a flagship character for Marvel. So jumping into a Spider-Man comic is pretty hard because you have Spider-Man, you have Ultimate Spider-Man, you have uh
Peter,
Spectacular
spectacular.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you have what
Spider Gwen.
well yeah, but not
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah.
have a Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
So you're just like, okay, like where do I join or where do I go, whatever. This is a self-contained story. These
Okay.
are self-contained stories, so you don't really have to know anything about it, and it's not like they like full characters that make you say who has that, who's that, right?
Hmm.
It's self-contained. It's pretty short. And Brian Michael Bendis, he's either hit or miss. This one was this one was pretty decent.
But this is Miles Morales, so I'm pretty sure it's a hit for him.
Yeah, well, anytime he writes about characters that he cares about, and of course Miles Morales is his baby, so
Right.
yeah.
All right. That was dope. Thanks a lot, Vito. Um, so Vito kicked things off with Marvel. He's gonna join in and help me out with this one. We're going to be talking about Doomsday Clock #2. Are we gonna go 1 and 2 or just #2?
Just two because that was
Look,
the issue that came out that day. I mean
yes,
on the lot, yeah.
yeah, no, that was a pretty sick issue. Um, so it's interesting with this one how they find how we see them. You know, the Watchmen and their universe come into the current DC universe. It's the way they actually, we've seen some of them, not all of them. So we've only seen, right now we've seen Adrian and New Rorschach because he's not who the other one. If you've been reading, I'm sorry I didn't mean to spoil it for you, but if you've been reading, if you read Watchmen, Rorschach is dead.
Oh yeah,
Rorschach is
even
dead.
if you see, yeah, even
If
if
you
you've
saw
seen
the
the
movie,
movie,
exactly. So I'm really not spoiling anything or that much for you. Rorschach is dead. If you've been reading the Doomsday Clock, if you picked up #1, somehow Adrian Veidt decided to do something, and well, you know him as Ozymandias, but I call him by his first, and I call him by his government, Adrian Veidt. Uh, he did something, and he created another Rorschach, and so we have another Rorschach in this universe, and it's very interesting to see them relate to each other. It's like he kind of has the memories of the old one in a way, and kind of has his mannerisms, and he talks the way he talks, and it's like he speaks the way he speaks, but he is not him, and he knows that he's not him. It's very weird. Anyway,
he's he's very faithful to the character, but he's also his own separate thing.
Exactly. He knows, he's self-aware pretty much. He knows he's not, but then he's very faithful to have his mannerisms, speak just the way. It's kind of weird, but it's also interesting to watch how he acts. And and the way this, so in both universes, this opens up a way where Bruce Wayne is getting interviewed for psych eval for, because somehow I think something happened where Wayne Industries or Wayne Enterprises asked, the board members of Wayne Enterprises asked Bruce Wayne to get yearly psych evals, and so he gets one, and he's talking to Lucius, and Lucius says, hey, look, you need to continue to do this, because if you're not, Lex is trying to buy Wayne, and if he buys it, you and I don't have a job, and all the side projects and Batman, everything becomes exposed, blah blah blah. Bruce Wayne, obviously being Bruce Wayne, is like, no, I'm needed more as Batman and not necessarily as Bruce Wayne, and it's back and forth with him and Lucius. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
As I was reading this, I was like, okay, so this takes place 12 months after anything that's going on in Rebirth right now, right? So I was like, what the hell is going to happen in Rebirth that everyone pretty much hates Batman at the moment?
Yes, because apparently you have to read this all the way to the end, because you know how if you read it all the way to the end, there's all these newspaper clippings in the back of it. This is why I love what they're doing with these books. In one of them, it's apparently Lex Luthor published some or released some documents about the Superman effect or something about superheroes and Superman, and he put it out there for everyone to see. So it's still very vague on what it is, but like you said, we need to go back to before Rebirth is over and find out what happened, to get us to this point. Why they hate Batman, why they hate Superman. It's just so weird, because if you're reading, what used to be Rebirth, because it's not necessarily titled Rebirth anymore, but if you're reading everything, from Rebirth, everyone is loving these superheroes and vigilantes. So it's like, where are we? How do we get to Doomsday Clock? Because it's literally almost the same thing happening in Doomsday Clock is the same thing that almost happened in Watchmen, where the world is getting closer to moving the Doomsday Clock to, it's been moved up to 3 minutes or something. It's been moved a little bit, in our universe. I'll say our universe, but yeah. So Batman is having this talk with Lucius. Very interesting. I'm not going to go too much into it because I want you guys to read it and understand it. And then they move forward into now we're back in the Watchmen universe, and Adrian is telling Rorschach as to why he has to do what he has to do, why he has to go through with this plan the way he has to go through with it. And it's like, hey, look, man, we have to find Dr. Manhattan, and he keeps calling him by his first name, John. And it's like, and the reason why the people they broke out in number 1 is because John, or Dr. Manhattan, has a pseudo relationship with with the woman in this. Hey, Vito, did they remind you of anyone in our current universe? Mime and his girlfriend?
Joker and Harley?
Pretty much. It's like that is the Watchmen's version of Joker and Harley. So it's like, apparently, they did the exact same thing. They went on a killing spree, and then when John came and he found them, he didn't necessarily kill her. He just he noticed she was pregnant, and instead of him killing her, he got them arrested. And so Veidt broke them out because he knows about this. Adrian could be Batman in this story. What do you think?
No, I think Veidt is more. I think it makes sense why when they said we're the smartest man in this universe, that Veidt felt that it was Lex, that it was the smartest one, but Rorschach figured that it was
Bruce.
It was Batman.
But like,
So I
okay, go
think
ahead.
that just like mirrors each other.
Right, right,
Rorschach is more like Batman in this situation.
right.
Meanwhile, Vate is more like Lex Luthor.
Makes sense. Um, yes. So they find and so the Watchmen's universe is destroyed, and the whole reason they're on this mission is to find John to have him come back and repair the damage they caused in that universe, so everything could go back. But it's destroyed because they fired a missile into the city and blew everything up, but they were able to escape and follow John's trail to the universe he went to after everything kind of went to shit. So he's here and they're here. So um it just looks really good. It looks really good. I don't want to talk too much about it because again, if you haven't really read it, if you're one of those people who's waiting for this thing to be over, then I don't know what to tell you. You're kind of in trouble because when we talk about it on the show, we're gonna spoil it. So I am sorry, or spoiler, or go into spoiler territory. But did you like the end of it? You know, where they're both talking to each other. You know, Adrian is like talking to Lex and trying to explain the situation to Lex, and you know we get this big surprise, and you know Rorschach breaks into the main Wayne Manor and he eats Bruce's dinner or breakfast, and you know that was kind of cool when they're standing in front of each other, and he goes, "Did you eat my breakfast?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did," and that kind of ends it. It's, you know, it's a cliffhanger because on the other side, when Adrian and Lex are talking, he gets, you know, like somebody surprises them, and I really want to talk about who surprises them, but I'm not going to. But I know it's a really really big surprise, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But I'm gonna ask Vito, what did you think about the surprise?
I liked it. It, at the end. It, it leaves me wanting more. So I'm just like, okay. And it sucks that I'm just like, man, this is a monthly thing. Like usually when they do like uh DC events lately, ever since Rebirth, it's been either weekly or
Well,
bi-weekly.
bi-weekly, yeah.
So now I'm just like, oh, I gotta wait a whole month for this now, and it's at the last. It's always the last week of the month.
Right.
But
But what you got next, Vito?
well, bring things up more recently. Uh, yeah, last week, two Marvel books that caught my attention came out. Right,
Right.
uh, Old Man Hawkeye
Hmm.
and Avengers No Surrender.
Okay. Okay.
So, which one do you want to hear about first?
I'm kind of interested in Old Man Hawkeye. So is that supposed to be like from the Old Man Logan universe?
Yeah, it's supposed to be the prequel of Old Man Logan.
Get out.
Apparently.
Okay.
Yeah. So, have you read Old Man Logan?
Of course. I read it right before I
Uh,
saw Logan.
okay. So it pretty much explains. It's gonna explain everything that happened with Old Man Logan, like
Mm.
why Venom combined with Tyrannosaurus Rex, how like everyone came in power to be or whatever, how all the territories got split up,
Right.
uh, how Hawkeye became blind.
Oh yeah, because he is blind.
Yeah, and you know other stuff like that. So
Okay. So I'm
start
definitely interested in that one.
yeah, it started off pretty solid. I'm enjoying it so far. It's only the first issue. We'll see where this goes. I mean, I'll give it another. By the way the first issue went,
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, I'm in it. I'm in it for the ride. I'm curious now. I want to see what happens.
Okay. Okay. So you got me intrigued because if you say it's kind of like a prequel for Old Man Logan, I'm definitely like excited to see what, you know, where it's gonna go or what they can do with this one.
Yeah,
Um.
originally when they announced, when I saw that Old Man Hawkeye was gonna happen, I was like, really? Are they really milking out this old man thing now or whatever? But I was actually pretty surprised when I read it. I only got it because I was just only curious to see if it was gonna be a, you know, a dud or whatnot. But
Okay. Okay.
I like it.
So you're recommending it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. What was the other one?
Oh, Avengers No Surrender.
Interesting.
Avengers
Oh,
675.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So the book was what, $5,
Okay.
right? And mainly it's because it had the holographic cover,
Of course.
right?
Uh huh.
So um, I haven't read any team books for a while now, and it's because I don't know. I don't feel like any team books actually stand. Or what I mean by team books is like
Justice League,
uh, Justice
Avengers,
League, Avengers,
JLA.
Champions, JLA, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, they're all kind of for me at the moment, right?
Right.
So this one, Avengers, it starts off pretty much with a bang, and you're just like, okay, and it pretty much lets you know that for the moment, there's been U.S. Avengers, there's been Occupy Avengers, you know, there's regular Avengers, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's like four teams. So reading this book would be like, for me, just like how, just like I mentioned not too long ago about Spider-Man,
Right.
right? But this one, because of this storyline, all the other Avengers titles have been put on hold.
What?
So this is the only Avengers book that's coming out, right? So I was like, okay, so I guess this is a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I I pick it up and I'm reading it, and right off the bat, they pretty much let you know what's going on. Um, the Avengers are forced to work together because something's going on, and they bring back Lightning, which is a character that was like pretty much he was a C-list character back then. He was one of those that when he said his name, I was like, huh. I don't think I remember this guy, so I had to Google him real quick.
What?
So they use him to like get the story going. Stuff happens. I don't wanna. I don't know if I should, spoil it, but somebody dies. Well,
No.
not somebody dies. Somebody to the Avengers family gets hurt really badly.
Okay.
So you see, like all the Avengers teams get help, and pretty much what happens is that you have all these earthquakes going on, the volcanoes going on, tsunamis going on. So even though you have characters that don't like each other or won't work with each other,
Mm-hmm.
like on a regular basis, they're working because the greater good is to save the world, right?
Right.
And then they realize they're like, hold up, where's our moon, and how come I can't talk to anybody via satellite? And then it pans out to Captain Marvel. She's in outer space, and then she goes to where Earth is at, and she's like, "Where the hell is Earth?"
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So, are you saying they're not on Earth?
They're on Earth, but somebody kidnapped Earth and moved Earth.
Okay. Okay. Somebody kidnapped the whole planet. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I got it. I got to look into this.
So you're reading it, and you're just like, "What the hell's going on?" And then, um, it's very traditional in the fact where it's a team book where you have to work, and then even though it was $5,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I'm interested in this because it reads like an event, like how DC Metal reads.
Right.
Where you're just like something serious is about to happen, but you don't know what.
Okay.
And then Voyager just shows up out of nowhere, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, I thought she was dead," and this and that. So you're like, "Who the hell is Voyager?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know people hit me up, and people are like, "Who the hell's Voyager? Why is she somebody that's old or whatever?" Right? And I'm like, "No, really, what I think they're doing is that they're doing the whole Sentry bit where they where it's a completely new character, but everyone's acting like this character's been around for years,
Ah.
right?"
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the Rick and Morty episode. You know where they have the earworm, and
Yes.
you're like, and then you're like, oh yeah, you remember these memories? And then you're like, oh yeah. So then you live a life where that person is in there, but really it doesn't exist or whatnot.
Right. Right.
That's what they're trying to do. That's what they were trying to do. And
Okay.
then I was like, all right, cool. It turns out that this series is a weekly thing.
Oh.
Because that was last week's issue. This week's issue came out. It's not $5, which is a good thing. Which I was like, okay, cool. So I am going to continue reading this, right? Because
Okay.
a $5 issue is going to hurt my pockets.
Right. Right. Right.
But in this week's issue was really good. I enjoyed it. The person that's hurt, I'm not going to say who it is. It's pretty much life or death. Hank McCoy and the Wasp are trying to save that person's life, and then they realize that, oh shit, something else is very wrong with this person.
Mm.
It's narrated by Falcon,
Okay.
and as they're talking,
Quick question. So this is all fallout from. This is all happening in Legacy. So this is all fallout from Secret Empire. So everything that's happening right now is from the fallout from Secret Empire. When you said they don't want to work with each other, I'm guessing it's because of that,
yeah,
or
because everyone has history with each other. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that out of nowhere, certain A-list heroes like Spider-Man and Captain America
mm-hmm.
and Hulk, right?
Yes.
They just get frozen in time. So out of nowhere, and yeah, so they just get frozen and they can't move. Nothing's wrong, and then they go into like this little blue projection kind of state.
Wow. Okay. So
So nobody knows. Yeah,
I am
nobody knows.
interested. I am
Nobody knows
interested.
what's going on in this issue. Voyager's talking about how she was a founding member of the Avengers, and she was in pretty much all these iconic Avenger scenes and books and stuff. But then, uh, like back when when they fought against Grandmaster and Krang,
Mm-hmm.
she fought against some dude named Victory, and then his powers counteracted with her powers, which pretty much dis- disintegrated her from everywhere and from recent memory. But
BS.
because it's comic book logic.
Right.
But ever since what's it called? But ever since the Earth got stolen, that shot her out of her little phase, and she's now back.
I
So
don't
she's
trust
trying.
her.
I know they give you that. They give you that vibe, like she's lying about who she is.
It
And
just
that's why I
sounds too
thought
good
about
to be
that
true.
Rick. Yeah, but uh, they're trying to figure out how they can save the world and how they can keep communication because with the Earth not having any satellites, because remember the Earth got moved.
Mm-hmm.
There's no satellites in orbit. There's no communicate. There's way no communicating. Pretty much on the world on the grander scale, right?
Yeah.
So then, as they're saying that, it pans out to Egypt because the Avengers were in Avengers Tower.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Avengers Mansion. They were all huddled up over there talking to each other. So now in Egypt, all of a sudden, lightning hits the ground, and that's where you see the Black Order and
Oh.
and the Lethal Legion, right? Which is another villain crew, right?
Mm-hmm.
They show up and they're over here like fighting against each other, and then you hear a voice saying, "Enough! The rules of engagement must be followed." Right? So then they all look up at the sky, and they're like, "Okay, well, so we can't fight against each other until they say it's time." Right? So what they did is that the Black Order, all of a sudden, well, it goes back to Avengers and Avengers Mansion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to talk and trying to really to come up with a strategy. And then that's when there's a TV, and then the TV turns on, and then you see what's her name? Proxima Midnight and
Yes.
Ebony Maw.
Yes.
Ebony, I think that was Ebony Maw.
I hope it
Uh,
is.
no. It was Corvus Glaive.
Oh, okay.
'Cause it's the husband wife combo.
Combo.
Yeah, they show up. They show up on the TV screen, and they're like Avengers. Uh,
Assemble.
just to let you know, we need. They're pretty much. They're like we're gonna do what needs to be done, right?
I wonder what that is.
So then Falcon, I don't know. Well, he had this power where he can like, uh,
If Falcon has
not
power in
morph.
this one.
Yeah, where he can like morph into a bird or whatever, to his Falcon bird, and
Mm-hmm.
see where and look around the perimeter or whatever.
Right.
So as he does that, he realizes that both of them are on top of, directly above, Avengers Mansion, right?
Oh.
And the last page is them, those two members of the Black Order,
Mm-hmm.
completely destroying Avengers Mansion while all the Avengers are in it. So you don't know if anyone survives. You don't know what's going on next. So now I'm pretty much sold on the next issue.
Wow. Okay, that's intense. That was intense. Uh, for me, however, I've been reading the Super Sons saga. You know, Super Son of Tomorrow, Super Sons of Tomorrow. So last week, I believe, was when it went into the Titans. Was it the
Yeah,
Titans? Yeah, it went into the no. That was Teen Titans or Titans. Well, it went into one of their other books. I think Titans or Teen Titans. No, Teen Titans because Titans came out this week. So it was Titans. It was Teen Titans last week, where you actually see Tim Drake assaulting the Titans Tower, and not last week, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago? No, last week. Last week, yeah. He assaults Titans Tower, and it was really weird because after he assaulted Titans Towers, he Damien and you know Damien and Superboy John escaped. I thought that was pretty cool when they escaped, and they were they escaped, and Damien kind of no Damien went to their base underwater, but they were found by Aqualad and I think Beast Boy and Fires and yeah, Beast Boy, Aqualad, and Starfire found them, and they from there went to the Fortress of Solitude, which now because Raven was left, and a couple other people were left with Raven, and they chose to stand and fight. Try to stop Superboy from going supernova or try to kill Superboy or something of the sorts. Well, it was just something where Raven, she used her connection to Tim because Tim used to be a member of the Titans, of the Teen Titans, and it was something where he played that. But we saw that happen last week, and they were found, and it looked like he was about to kill. No, Damien, no, not Damien. Sorry, John was about to go supernova because he saw his dad hurt. He was just in his emotion and his feelings, and even the Super Sons of Tomorrow, which is Superman from the future, the Flash from the future, and I think Wonder Woman from the future, came down to our world to come help and come grab Tim Drake and take him back. But when they got here, it was kind of late because John was already going supernova. But seeing all the teams kind of work together to kind of save the day, because it came into this week's issue in Super Sons number 12, where they kind of like Tim sacrifices himself. I'm not gonna spoil too much. I don't want to spoil too much, but this week's issue was very, very strong and powerful, and I think everyone should get it. Because the Teen Titans mansion is kind of destroyed. I will tell you guys that Superman kind of gets the Teen Titans and Jonathan Kent up to the Justice League space station, and now everyone. It was kind of a cool thing to see Damien sit down in a Batman chair. Aqualad sit down in Aquaman's chair, and I think Jonathan almost sat down in Superman's chair, but he's like, "Yeah, I gotta leave so you can have your meeting." It was kind of cool to see those guys like, to see where everyone sat and see how everyone took that. I thought that was a very, very cool image. But I thought the message of the Super Sons was even better because it's a thing where it kind of told you you can now see the very, very budding friendship of John and Damien. You can see how good they're going to be, great friends, moving into the future. And I'm very interested in reading Super Sons and seeing how their story progresses. And are they going to age them? Because they have to age, right? At some point, they have to get older. Now, what's going to happen when they start aging? John and Damien, are they going to still be friends? Because the whole thing about this Super Sons story is they were friends. Damien did something, and Damien did something and John had to stop him, or John did something and Damien had to stop him, and it's something. I'm not going to tell you the exact story, but it's something along one of those two lines, so you can read it and find out for yourself. But I thought that was very interesting. But you're going to see that friendship grow, and I really, really, really want to see how that friendship grows and progresses, into the future. That was something I read, and I also read The Flash. The Flash is a two-parter. I think it was Cold Day in Hell, where we see in Arkham. No, is it Arkham? Sorry, not Arkham. Ooh, wrong prison. What is it again? Shoot, what's the name of the Flash's prison? Iron Heights. Because Barry has been sent to Iron Heights to go be a forensics person up at Iron Heights because they don't need him in Central City anymore because he's just been too stubborn and just stupid at his job. Anyways, he's at Iron Heights and there's a murder. One of the rogues is dead, and Barry tries to solve the murder, but then he finds out that in solving this murder that the rogues have actually taken over Iron Heights prison, but they don't want to take over the prison. They're just content with working out of the prison, and Godspeed kind of helps him. It's a very, very interesting story. It's a story about forgiveness, and I thought it was very interesting. And those were the two stories that I thought were the most powerful out of everything I read in the last couple of weeks, 2 weeks ago and this week. So those are the two interesting stories. Again, Super Sons of Tomorrow with the budding friendship, and Super Sons of Tomorrow with the budding friendship, and the Flash story about the Cold Day in Hell about forgiveness. And I thought those were the most interesting stories. So we're now down to This Week in Comics. And interesting, the name of the episode is This Week in Comics, and we're finally gotten to This Week in Comics. So Vito, you want to kick us off in this week?
Yeah, I already kind of talked about Avengers No Surrender.
What?
But the other book that I read, it came out this week. It was a light week for me this week. It was Damage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm reading that one too. It's pretty good. Pretty good so far.
You liked it?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a little bit Incredible Hulkish in the beginning.
It's very much. It's only gonna get more and more very Incredible Hulk. I mean, they even have the person that he responds to.
Oh man.
Has an eye patch.
Oh, of course. So they just made a Thunderbolt. Oh. I mean, yeah. other than it being Incredible Hulkish, I did like it. Ooh, the person he fought in the beginning, one of the guys he fought, Damage fought, was like, I should be Damage. It's who does that remind you of?
The dude Abomination.
Yes. So I was like, oh man, they're not even trying to hide it. They're not even trying.
Yeah, I know, right? No, the other thing too, that as I was reading this, I was like, he was like, don't do it, Ethan, right? And then so Ethan talks Damage out of killing what's the dude's name? I forgot his name.
Fake
then
Abomination.
He was like, yeah, Fake Abomination, and then he still manages to talk shit after he was pretty much begging for his life. Right. And he barely did it on like half a breath. He was like, see, you didn't have the balls to finish it. I should have been Damaged. And I'm like, okay, that was a funny part, but
like he's damn near dead.
Yeah.
He's almost dead, and he's like, I should have been Damaged. But
overall,
okay.
Or you haven't finished it?
Yeah, no, I'm done. I'm done. Finished it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it was a really short read, right?
Yes.
I felt like 2.99 was more than what I should have paid for this story. Because literally, this story is like only like 15 pages, and then the rest of it is just like the other half of the Jeff Lemire story that's about to come on that reminds me so much of the Fantastic Four.
um. Shoot.
Terrifics.
Yes. Terrifics.
Yeah, you have a smart guy in Mr. Terrific.
Yep.
You have a stretchy guy in Plastic Man,
Plastic
right?
Man. Yeah.
You have an invisible woman, right?
Yep.
And
And
you
you have
have
a
a
thing.
yeah, and you have a thing. So I
Oh
don't know.
man. I mean, I thought it was an interesting read, like you said, but like according to you though, they what they're doing is putting a lot of other stories, like future stories behind their ones. Because I think at the end of Aquaman that I read this week, I saw a damage. No, not damage. The other guy, the guy who phases. What's his name? Shoot. He phases through dimensions. Well, not dimensions. He phases through reality. And crap. If I remember his name, Sideways. So at
Uh-huh.
the end of Aquaman, I think I saw a Sideways story. I thought that was interesting. I am gonna pick up the first issues of all four of these. The post Doomsday, not Doomsday, the post Dark Knight's Metal books. So yeah, but damage, I kind of liked it. It did feel very Incredible Hulk like, in the beginning. But I hope, and I hope it doesn't get into Incredible Hulk territory. You know, the more it goes.
Yeah,
But
it seems like that's where it's going though.
nah, it better
I
not.
mean, the ending was pretty much the only reason why I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna give up totally on this book right now. The Suicide Squad's in it.
Yes, they're doing it's a task force XL, extra large.
Yeah. I'm curious as to where it's gonna go. I'm not too
Yeah,
sure.
interested in where that. Yeah, you're right, because now we've seen Amanda and the fake Thunderbolt Ross. Uh, I should know their names, but I'm gonna call them by their Marvel names for now till I figure out what the story is about. Fake Thunderbolt Ross and Amanda Waller facing off. I thought that was a very interesting cover, so I'm interested. I'm kind of interested in seeing where this goes. You got another one for us this week, or that's pretty much it?
Yeah, it was a really light week for me.
Okay, well, that's it
I
for me
mean,
too, because I talked about Super Sons number 12, kind of like when I was doing the Super Sons of Tomorrow story. Um, Other than that, there was Aquaman, which I'm really reading a lot of Aquaman because that's the one DC movie coming out this year, so I have to support every way possible. I have to support Aquaman every way possible, and it's really good. If you're not reading Aquaman, I suggest that you get into it. This last story about Mira breaking into Atlantis, getting Garth. Is it Garth from Titans? The
yeah.
Yes, Garth from Titans to help destroy the crown of thorns that the fake king put over Atlantis, and she snuck in, and apparently now she can't breathe underwater. Yes, because apparently the means she used to sneak into Atlantis got destroyed. So on her getting in, because it was destroyed, she can't breathe underwater now. Kind of like the magic is kind of wonky, and so the school of magic sisters or whatever have convinced Aquaman to destroy the crown of thorns and overthrow the queen. Oh, I'm sorry, overthrow the king so that the rightful ruler of Atlantis, Queen Mira, could take her place. So it's very interesting to see what will happen, because Aquaman at this point doesn't want to be king anymore, doesn't want to live in Atlantis anymore. He wants to be a surface dweller. His plan was to leave the throne and come be a surface dweller with Mira, but that didn't happen. Mira now knows that they voted for her to be queen, and she wants to take the She wants to take, she wants to be queen and wants to do what she has to do. There's another girl that Aquaman kind of met while he was underground. It's a really interesting story. I kind of want to see if it's gonna be messy like that. But that is all I got for you guys this week in comics. We talked about again was Doomsday Clock. Vito talked about the Spiderman II. He talked about Avengers No Surrender. He talked about, what was the other one he talked about?
Old Man,
Old Man Hawkeye.
And Damage.
Yes, we talked about Damage and Super Sons number 12, and he talked about what was you did 2 issues in one. Was it Avengers No Surrender 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
And I did Super Sons 1 and 2, and I kind of gave you a little brief talk on Aquaman. So that is our episode for this week in comics. Man, it's been a while. I want to say, can we say Happy New Year? Is it too late to say Happy New Year?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Happy New Year. I am welcome to Rough Tuesday This Week in Comics. We're going to be doing a lot of bigger and better things in 2018. I am not going to make any promises, but I am working on getting some comic book creators to do interviews for us. Yes, I'm working on that. So when I get that, I'll get the message to Vito and Ziggy, and we will have those guys on here, and we will have great interviews for you guys. So this week in comics is not just going to be talking about comics. We're going to get into getting comic book creators to do interviews when they have time. So I want to thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Vito, for coming through. Hopefully this is a thing in 2018. We need more Vito. So in the comment section, I want you guys to write, "We need more Vito." So thank you very much again, Vito, for coming through and doing this episode with me. Thank you all for listening. This has been another Earth 2 This Week in Comics. I think we're out. Peace.